catch a lot of that.
That's fine. That's fine. No problem. You getting this?
Yes.
All right.
Some makeup film.
Setting up is always the hardest.
Yeah, sure. Let me cough.
That's okay. Go ahead. You can stop too.
Here we go.
Okay, all set?
I think I'm good.
1, 2, 1, 2. No, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Philip, tell me what this group is looking for in terms of these 3 churches that have been closed.
Okay, we're members of the parishes of St. Rita's, St. Ange, and Corpus Christi. And our churches have been suppressed, our parishes have been suppressed, which means that we no longer exist as communities within the Catholic Diocese of Sault Ste. framework. But our buildings remain sacred space. There's a difference between a parish being closed and a church being closed. The bishop has pretty much all power to suppress the parish. But there are church laws which govern when a church can be changed from being a church to being able to be used for non-church purposes, okay, and then sold. In the church law, there's nothing that has happened that can give the bishop a legitimate reason to issue such a decree to reduce our parishes for non-church purposes. So what we're saying here today is, let's get together. The churches remain sacred. We therefore have the right to enter into these churches, to pray, and to receive the sacraments. And we want our sacred items, which have been removed, such as statues, to be replaced immediately. And we want to meet with Bishop Plouffe as soon as possible to start discussing how to use these churches properly, even if they're not parish churches, how to use these churches properly so that the faithful of the Diocese of Sault Ste. Marie can receive the sacraments, can pray, and to continue to grow in their faith.
So, now you were saying that, perhaps use the buildings as a chapel. Explain what the difference would be.
Okay, so what they have been are what's called parochial churches. They're parish churches. So the community, the parish community, has been worshiping in those churches. They are no longer parish churches because the parish no longer exists. But they're still churches, okay? And because they're churches, they now can be used for other purposes. They could become a shrine, for instance. They could become a chapel associated with another parish. They could become, a retreat house, right? They could become a Newman Center with a chapel associated with it. It could become a second place of worship, a part of another parish. For example, in the Holy Name Parish, St. Alphonsus in Callendar, as a parish, no longer exists. It's been suppressed. But the church is now a second place of worship in the parish of Holy Name. So things like that could occur. And they're all laid out very well in the Code of Canon Law.
So in terms of, I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but has someone not come forward to buy Corpus Christi?
Someone has come forward to buy Corpus Christi. It's true. But the bishop has not yet issued a decree which would relegate our church to no longer be a church. He has to do so. But in order to do so, and then he can sell it, then he can actually execute the sale. But in order for him to issue the decree, he has to have a legitimate reason to say that the building can't be used for divine worship. And he doesn't have those reasons. There's only 2 reasons. One, the church can't be repaired. It's in bad shape and can't be repaired. Or 2, some kind of crime which goes against the spiritual character of the building that's taking place, like a murder. None of those things have happened. So canon law is very clear that these are still sacred spaces. They can't be changed legitimately. And therefore, let's get on with the task and start using these churches again in other means. And the Congregation for the Clergy in Rome has issued decrees on these matters in other parishes, saying, okay, you can suppress the parish, but the church has to stay open.
So what you're hoping is that those decisions will affect the possible sale of these buildings here in North Bay. You're hoping that those decisions will apply to your case.
we believe that these decisions do apply to our case. I have read one of the decrees, and it's like reading any one of our stories. Okay? Everything that the Cardinal Piacenza says could be applied to any of our parishes. All right? Rome is spoken, and we are the Roman Catholic Church. We act in union with Rome. We are the local expression of the universal church. The bishop has his authority, and he acts as bishop when he does so in union with Rome. Rome has spoken. We need to act accordingly. So I really believe it's up to the bishop now. Rome is telling the bishops of the world to get together with their parishioners, to their lay faithful, and work these things through. If we're only going to have 3 English parishes and 1 French parish in the city, fine. But there are other things and other ways to meet the spiritual needs of our people. And they need them. They need them. Parishes are not enough. This is a different time. This is a new era. Parishes are not enough. We need shrines. We need chapels. We need adoration chapels where people can go and pray. That's what we need. And the bishop now has an opportunity, with these 3 churches no longer being parish churches, to do those kinds of creative things that will attract people to the church. Particularly Catholics who have refrained from coming to church.
So what you're saying is find alternative spiritual uses for those buildings, don't sell them.
They can become shrines and that kind of stuff, but they need to be used for the celebration of the sacraments, particularly the celebration of the Mass and the hearing of confession.
Okay, so you've come together to announce your intentions. I'm going to get you to take a step closer. Perfect. So you've come together to announce your intentions. Today, what happens now?
Well, what happens now is we're going to continue to correspond with the bishop. We're going to continue to inform our fellow Catholics of this, and we're going to make this known across the country. I've informed every bishop in the country by email. I've sent them our media statement, and we're going to continue to pursue, to get a dialogue about this, and a full understanding of the consequences of the decisions from Rome for our parishes and the parishes across the Diocese of Sault Ste. Marie. The rights of Catholics have to be upheld, and the bishop has a responsibility to us to uphold our rights. And we have a responsibility to work with him, and we're ready to do so.
So tell me, there's an interested party buying Corpus Christi Church. Do you know what they're going to use it for, and when that offer of sale becomes, or offer to purchase becomes official? Or
our understanding is that the closing date for that sale is January the 31st. So that the sale, but in order for that sale to be executed, the bishop needs to issue a decree which relegates our church to profane but not sordid use. Okay? He's not issued that decree. He has no reason to issue that decree. Therefore, if a sale happens, it's illegitimate in the eyes of the church, and it will be illegitimate in the eyes of the faithful, and could be a source of scandal.
Now, profane use is something other than
Church use.
Church use,
That's
correct? Right. Okay. So, I mean, have you talked to the bishop? When do you anticipate being able to do that?
Well, we've been attempting to talk to the bishop about these kinds of things for a long time. We've been trying to discuss with him from the point of view of Corpus Christi and other parishes, the other parishes, to talk about other things that could happen with our churches. You know, but this recent understanding of the church law has happened for us only in the last couple of weeks ourselves. These decrees have only happened in the last little while. So all this is sort of coming together now. But we have been, over the last 6 months, we've been corresponding with the bishop to try and get something creative to happen with these buildings. We've gotten nowhere. But now, the church from Rome has made statements that back up the kinds of things we've been wanting to see happen. Therefore, it's right now the time for the bishop to meet with us and to start moving in a creative way on how to deal with these churches and to have the faithful be able to use them for the celebration of the sacraments.
But as the faithful, are you not supposed to, and this is,
Sure,
are you not supposed to follow the decisions of your bishop?
The bishop needs to act in accordance with, he acts as bishop when he acts in accordance with Rome. Okay? He has canon law to guide him, and he has his own pastoral, team, his council of priests, right? So, he has certain authorities, and we accept and acknowledge his authorities, okay? We have rights as well that are laid out in the Code of Canon Law. And our rights are to tell the bishop and our priests the things that we need, the things that we desire, okay? So that's the first point. We listen to him, he listens to us. That's the Roman Catholic Church. Also,